Hey guys, welcome. Let's talk cryptocurrency, shall we? So, there's been a lot going on, a lot of it not so much in the positive. Though I'll touch upon that because I usually do most videos, at least of what has been recently happening, like the major crash that happened this weekend and really did shake a lot of people out. It's obvious when you look at the charts, it's what happened. There were several reasons why for it. Everything from a lot of massive over leveraging in their plays, a lot of macroeconomic news, tariffs. We can blame it for everything. But the point being, this is what happens in a bull run, which we have been in one for a little bit. We're not at the peak where we'll call altcoin season yet, obviously, but yes, we're still going to have an altcoin season. I am incredibly confident of this one, so much to where when we had this crash, I put a little bit of my money where my mouth is, so to speak, and I bought more. It was the largest dip that we have had, people, in the history of crypto. It was announced about $10 billion left the market. And that was I think that was the net negative. So why am I bringing this up? It's because this was a huge mental test for everybody. The title of this video alludes to how most of us are not ready for altcoin season, and this weekend proved it. So I'm going to get into a little bit as to what do we need to do to set ourselves up for altcoin season. What have I been doing? What do I recommend you guys think about doing? And no, it is not just buy the dip, right? I mean, great advice in most situations if you have the funds and then also the belief to do so. But I want to get into a couple things that if you're not doing right now, are going to set you up to have a better chance at being one of the 1%, 5%, 10%, whatever you want to call it, that actually makes money in this space. So if you haven't done it, some of the next following things, and some of them are easier than others, I'll be honest, some's a little time consuming, but be well worth your freaking time. So let's get into it. I'll touch upon the one that I kind of alluded to just a couple of seconds ago of the mental aspect of this game. There's ups and downs. There are major crashes that come pretty quickly with increases into our price action of our coins, but not usually as fast, right? You ever notice the dips are always bigger, right? Especially on a given day. Goes all the way fucking down to where, right? This is normal. I mean, this size of crash wasn't normal, but it's not abnormal in an altcoin market. And we have to be mentally ready for it. If you sold off, if you got rid of your bags, then you kind of showed you weren't ready for it. But whether we'll call it the silver lining, you're going to get another chance. I can guarantee it, because we're going to see things go up and then crash again. So the mental aspect of it, you have to know it's coming. Okay, we might not always know when. Sometimes we can foreshadow when we're going to have major dips or a little bit of spikes. And I'll get into one of my soon-to-come-out videos, I think I'm talking about later this week, about a couple little spots where I'm very confident that there's going to be spikes in specific crypto or narratives. Thursday, there's a big one. Ondo hosting a summit. Everyone that's already invested into Ondo, I mean the large company-wise, are going to be there. Probably talking about tokenization. Just watch. I'm expecting a big narrative pump of the tokenization real-world assets, Ondo being one of them. Thursday, guys, February 6th. But there's going to be these little catalysts, right? We can actually generally expect more of where it's going to pump and not so much the dumps. But you got to be ready for all of it. And a lot of it comes down to, one, just practice of having that hodl, diamond hands, hold on mentality for at least some of these times, right? Again, if you're in profit and you get a little nervous, you want to take some profits out, no one's going to yell at you for it. Or actually, people might yell at you for it, but you know what? Do it. If you feel it's best for you to take profits, take some freaking profits, guys, right? But you got to expect these things. The ups and the downs and the emotional turmoil, it's not easy, right? But this is where researching more, listening to people, joining groups really seems to help out. Got to hold in there mentally strong until you get to your goal. Hey, there's a segue. So with crypto, do you guys have a goal? I as dumb as that might sound to some of you, a lot of us do not. And making a shit ton of money or making as much money as you can, that's not a goal. That is not even close to a goal. That is an abstract thought at best. I mean, how do you know when you're close to making as much money as you can? How do you know when you should de-risk or buy, sell, increase risk if your goal is to make as much as you can? Right? I mean, if that's the case, just put your entire life savings into meme coins. You have the best chance, I guess, of making as much money as possible, but your chances shrink more and more because you don't have a freaking plan. So Do you guys have a goal, I guess? It can be anything as long as it's measurable, right? Like it can be, I put in 10K into the market. I want 100K. I want a 10X it, whether that's 1,000, 5,000, $50, $100,000, whatever it is. I want a 10X it on average. My goal is I want to, on average, 8X what I put into it. I'm well on my way there, so the goal might change a little bit. But at that point, once I hit my goal, I can increase the risk because I've achieved what I wanted to do. Versus if I said I wanted to do 12X something, like my entire portfolio, I would change completely the times I'm willing to buy and certainly the times and the amounts I'm willing to sell. So I highly recommend you have a goal. Okay, even if the goal is something less direct, and maybe it's more buy a car, buy a house, but I bet you still have a number in mind if that's the case, right? Is it 20,000, 40,000, 400,000? You still have an idea of where you're going so you can plan accordingly, right? So we talk a lot, by we I mean pretty much everybody in this space, right, about DCAing in, dollar cost average, buy the dips. Something I highly recommend doing for your goal is also sell the pumps, but make it planned, right? So what I mean is, I'll give a silly little example. I was hoping that Mr. Pickles, the Fighting Crypto Kitty, was going to make an appearance on Q. He's out there licking his butt or something. So we'll give a silly little example, but hopefully this helps you out, right? Let's say I buy a random coin. Let's call the coin Pickles, right? Pickles is a $1 coin, and I put $1,000 into it, right? And my goal is to 10x my portfolio of all these Pickles coins. Okay, so one, I could wait until Pickles goes from $1 to $10. Success. What's the odds? Like, would you be confident putting your entire investment into it hitting one number, which is 1,000% from now, 900% from now, whatever, 10xing? If you got the kahunas to do it, go for it. Realize it might not be the safest plan by any means. I guess that is one option, though. That is not what I'm going to do or what I have already planned. All right. So we'll keep this simple, but with this $1 of Pickles coin, I invested $1,000, got 1,000 Pickles. All right. So something I could do is if my goal is to average 10xing, ending with $10,000, I could wait until Pickles gets to about $7. 7xing, more realistic. Maybe the Pickles has great tokenomics. Maybe it's been talking a lot on Twitter. Maybe Elon Musk took a picture of a jar with Pickles' face on it. Who knows, right? If I think $7, let's say I sell 25% of my bag of pickles. All right, that's 2,500 pickle coins. Selling at $7, I have $1,750. Okay, I dollar cost averaged out as it went up. Yeah, maybe it goes down. There's another major crash, goes up again, blah, blah, blah. But then let's say it ends up hitting $9 and I'm going to sell another 25%. So another 2,500 pickles, but this time at $9, I get $2,250, which brings me up to $4,000 total. All right. Pickles at $9. Hell, if we would just waited until 10, I would have sold everything. You're right. But this is a way that we do logistically, safely make as much money as we can. And it's planned. It's written out. This way, it only changes if you get emotional and change it, which I recommend not changing your plan unless you have a very good reason to. Again, CEOs drop out, major fraud, scandal, etc. Even some of those times, those just make really good buying opportunities, to be completely honest. Right? So maybe back to the pickle conundrum. Maybe when it hits $12, then I sell 30% of my bag. And then I get an extra 3,600, brings me up to 7,000. Right? Brings me to $7,600. All right. And I'm thinking, man, pickles could keep going higher. We could have $20 pickles, right? But maybe the last plan here is at $15. I sell 15 more percent, which gives me another $2,400, and I've got my 10,000. Right. If you did all the math with me, which kudos if you actually kept up with that one, I still have about 4% left. I can just let it go as much as I want. Maybe then I think it's going to hit $20. Maybe I'll think it's going to hit $24. Maybe I think pickles will hit $52. But I still have a little bit of, we'll call it a moon bag, see how far it goes, to sell off. And I had the plan. All right. I did this with every single one of my coins, with my HBAR, with my quant, with my render, with my technically HFT, with my assembly AI. I did this with all of them. Right? And I have it based for me on what I think is the risk reward with each one. Like I'm not doing 25% for all of them, right? That was the easiest example to explain it for. But I do have tiers going up based off of what I personally think is realistic. And I got what I think is realistic based off of my research, right? So this is why it's so important. So you guys have an idea of at least building a belief of what the heck you're buying, as opposed to just listening to everybody else and following the herd. Sheep get slaughtered, everybody. Lead your own self. Be your own investor. Maybe you have a plan. Maybe it's a damn good plan and you've got the kahunas to hold on to it the entire time. Okay, great. We can still maybe look at our portfolio and do something a little bit better, right? Or you diversified. Not everyone is into diversification of crypto. I could explain why. I'll just say I don't really understand why, but I'm very much into diversifying. I do not think you should be a crypto maxi in anything, my opinion. Bitcoin, okay, I'll give you Bitcoin. If you want, I just want to use it as my normal investment, use it as a savings account, I can understand that one, right? And if you guys have been listening to me before, I do have Quant, which I'm willing to hold on to for a while because I think that one's going to be a big player end game down the road. But I still have prices to sell all of it. Like if they hit prices this bull run, I'm out of it. I'll rebuy later. But everything else, I've got my tiers, but I'm diversified in what I own. And I think this is a great idea. And there's a couple of different ways of diversification, right? One is diversifying in the narratives, right? Have an AI play, have a real world asset play, have a deep in play, have a layer one, have a crummy little meme coin of whatever animal you were feeling that day when you were drinking tequila and bought it, right? Diversify what you have because crypto tends to burst in narratives. Well, all of one come up, all of AI come up, all of this, all of that. And they usually tend to do so by market cap size. Large market caps usually go first because they're the most known. They're the ones who are most talked about. They're, in general, less risky, which is another way of diversifying, is diversifying the market caps that you have. Have one or two hedges that are already up there in the market cap and 5 billion plus. Have a couple of the moderate, have a couple of the degen micro ones, but vary it. They're going to hit at different times, and maybe one won't hit at all. Maybe one's going to go to the effing moon for no known reason, right? But if you have dip your toes in all the little ponds, you're better off this way, at least for my belief. Another thing is diversifying risk. Right? I mean, it kind of comes into play with narratives and market caps because there's a correlation with the smaller the market cap, the less the risk. It's not directly related, but there is definitely a correlation to it. I've done a couple of videos on how to tell or determine if something's risky, highly risky, lower risk. And go back, watch those, do your own research, listen to other people. But I do recommend have a few that's safer plays. That might just mean, hey, they're going to go up 3 to 5x. At this point, I think that's a hitch bar or a quant. Maybe you have a couple that you are very likely to go up 5 to 15x. Maybe here we're talking the renders and the bit tensor tau, and then have a couple of the other ones. You're like, this one could go 10 to 20x. Assembly AIs, ASM, HFT. Have your plays that diversify and kind of go a little over the place. This way you just have everything covered. It's a better way to set you up for success as we move forward. And the last one here is, it's going to sound simple. I mean, the act of this is simple, which is have a watch list. Pretty much every exchange or stock watching app, everything kind of has a watch list where you can click and say, I'm going to keep an eye on these. And like Coinbase has one. And you can just go through your watch list every day. I've got plenty of them. Some that I really don't have the main intent on buying. Some I like Bitcoin. I have no intent on buying Bitcoin right now, but I keep that on my watch list because I use that to see everything follows Bitcoin. So what's Bitcoin doing? It gives me a basis of understanding. I can look for patterns, right? I'll also have on my watch list crypto that I think might be good for trades. I'm not doing any trading right now, but it's good to establish a pattern. I'll have a couple different crypto within a narrative that maybe I want to get into. Maybe I'm already in. Like, the only AI plays I have right now is ASM and render. But I'm watching bit tensor tau. I'm watching Beam. So I have something on the higher end and a little bit on the lower end of a market cap of the same narrative. So I can watch to see what the whole narrative is doing. Are they coming up and down together? Does one go up or down? The other is delayed. Find that one a lot. But I only notice that because I watch them. Just once a day or so to see, okay, where it is. And you memorize it pretty quickly, what the average of them are going to be and what you expect them to be. And I also use watch lists to get an idea of what crypto might I get into, right? Like right now, I have no intent of opening a new position. But there's a very good chance that once I start selling off some of my crypto or selling off some more of my crypto for some profits, I'm going to roll it into other crypto that hasn't really had a boost yet. And how do you know which ones haven't had a boost? You can go through seamlessly into all the charts and look, but if you have a watch list of ones that you already like, that you already think at some point, this coin is going to go up this bull and I just don't know when, keep an eye on it. All right. So then I've got sell limits set for all my crypto. I'm hopeful that maybe my Ondo is going to hit one of those sell limits after this week, after the Ondo summit. And when it does, yes, I'm gonna sell. I've got for Ondo, I think I've got 5 different tiers I'm selling off. I might not have that fully memorized correctly, but I think it's 5. And my first one's coming up in like 40 cents from now or so. Right? And when I sell it, I'm going to take some profits. That way I'm safe. I can't lose money in Ondo. And the rest, I'm going to roll into another coin. Maybe it'll be a coin I currently own that just want to boost up further, like Aerodrome. If that's still under $1 when Ondo or the next one pumps to hit a sell limit of mine, oh yeah, I'll dump more into Aerodrome without a doubt. I'm fine, happy, comfortable with that. Maybe I'll put in another one that's on my watch list. I've been keeping an eye on Beam. That one looks like it's a great spot to hop in if you're looking for a gaming AI play. It might move into something safer that hasn't hit yet. AVAX Avalanche, I'm watching that one. I have no problems dipping in for a quick, easy 2 or 3x on that one. Again, if it hasn't moved up yet. And that's what I use this watch list for. It helps this way. I have a plan I subscribed previously for the crypto I own, but I also want to have a tentative idea of, okay, if I want to, maybe my sell limits don't hit. Maybe I don't end up getting close to the goal based off of the initial plan of my crypto. But this way I can compound my gains. Take profits. If I make a 4x from Ondo, I sell 20% of my bag. I can now move that 4x I just got into Avalanche, get a 3x, right? And then after Avalanche goes, I sell that, and maybe then I look at, oh, Beam has only moved up 180% at all. I think it's got another 800% to go. Let's move it into there. Get another 6 to 8x, right? But I recommend having these kind of planned, right? You can't fully tell the future on these, but you can have options. And that's why I see the watch list as a ongoing spot to go ahead and see and plan your options. So if you've been with me for this long and you found any of this useful or interesting, or any other reason you might want to, please do subscribe. It really does help me out. I appreciate it. Feel free to click the like button, ring the little ding thing, because I'm going to have more videos coming out all bull run, and I plan to right now continue in the bear market. So when you want notified of more videos coming out, have that all set. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.